I think I might do fear of being seen just because I think it's kind of topical, the fact that I kicked you out of the studio to record this. What would you do if you had no fear? This is a question that I ask myself often. Hi everyone, welcome to the Empower Sounds podcast. No, that feels too enthusiastic. Okay. And I want to share my experiences because I think I've built the muscle of feeling fear of being seen and doing it anyways. I think we talk a lot about not feeling good enough on social media, but there's this whole flip side of feeling too much. You are innately worthy to be seen. You are innately valued. Being worthy is an opinion, but feeling worthy is a choice. Hi everyone, welcome to the Empower Sounds podcast. My name is Mahika, and today I want to talk all about the fear of being seen. Now, before we start with the topic, I want to start with a question and leave your responses down in the comments below. And if you don't want to put it on the public platform, send me a message on Instagram or on TikTok or an email. But what would you do if you had no fear? This is the question I often ask myself. It really helps me guide the things that I want to do or reroute if I'm doing something or make a change or start with new fresh energy, because I realized I think that fear and anxiety played fuel for me for a really, really long time. And it limited me. And I want to talk about the fear of being seen because even though I have a podcast and I have been on camera, recording my face, recording my voice for many years now, and I run a media agency and I make content every single day, I still have the fear of being seen. And it's still something I'm working through. And I know that it's something that a lot of my friends struggle with. And I imagine a lot of you guys that are listening, watching, that are part of this community also struggle with. And I want to share my experiences because I think I've built the muscle of feeling fear of being seen and doing it anyways. And I don't just mean talking in front of a camera or being in the media or making content. It's also showing up in your relationships and the fear of being seen in that, and then also in friendships, also the fear of being seen and accepted in your relationship with yourself, also in the workspace. Basically this is about taking up the space to be you and show up with your authentic personality, desires, mistakes, and everything, the whole muchy thing. And I think we talk a lot about not feeling good enough on social media, but there's this whole flip side of feeling too much, which also comes from this fear of not being good enough and not being worthy. And it's all linked to the fear of being seen. And the fear of being seen is keeping you small. It means that you're not asking for that promotion at work. It means that you're not asking that person that you like out, or even just introducing yourself if you don't want to ask them out. I don't do that. But just making yourself known. It means that you're not going and saying hi to that new person that you want to be friends with. It means that you are not posting that article or that content or that podcast or that documentary because you don't think that it's at the level that you want it to be. It's because you judge yourself and you create this filter of perfectionism on top of everything you do. And you're scared that if you're seen, then people will judge you, will leave you, will harm you. And it's human, it's natural, and it's actually a survival instinct that's wired into us. And I said this when I made the episode of how to stop caring what other people think a year ago, when it was an audio podcast in my bedroom. And I was talking about how caring what other people think is human, it's natural, and it's a survival instinct because we all operated in a very communal system before. And being accepted by the people around you was integral to surviving and thriving. And it still is. We all just want acceptance and love and validation from our community and from our friends and family and all this kind of thing. And we don't want to be embarrassed because we think embarrassment is going to equal rejection. And there is nothing worse than being embarrassed on a public platform or just being seen in a moment of vulnerability or something that you feel scared around. It can be really, really, really uncomfortable. And so I want to break it down and talk to you about how you can get over the fear of being seen, because regardless of whether you want to make content, working on this is going to change your life. And like I said, it's something that I'm continuing to actively work on. It's not something I've mastered, but I now do the thing while still feeling the fear of being seen. I still come and I record podcasts every week. I make content every day. I write articles. I started a business. I try new things. I talk about myself loudly and proudly as well. I think speaking about ourselves in a nice way and promoting ourselves and our talents and our abilities is also something that is linked to the fear of being seen, because we don't want to be seen as being arrogant or being too much or being like obnoxious, but promoting yourself and talking about your wins does not make you a bad person. And actually, when you start doing it for yourself, you will normalize doing it for other people, and you will give them the permission to talk about themselves in a nice way and to be seen and to be muchy. And so, yes, today we're going to talk all about things to do with fear of being seen. Go grab a snack, go grab a drink, and let's talk about it. So in my personal experience, the fear of being seen comes from two big places. The fear of being seen and its like safety side of the wound, and the fear of being seen and the worthiness side of the wound. So from the safety side of the wound, it comes from, at least in my personal experience, this belief that if I'm seen for being my most too much self, then I will be like unsafe. And I don't mean physically unsafe, or maybe I do mean physically unsafe, because you see stories on the media of like women who post online, or not just women, like people who post online and get hate comments, or they even get death threats, or they get stalked, or all these kind of things. Like you see stories of that actually happen. And then also like the emotional safety of like, if I put myself out there, people will be mean to me and I could be rejected. And that's really scary. And your brain is wired for safety. So when you put yourself in a place where you could actually be physically, emotionally, psychologically harmed, it makes sense that you're not going to want to be seen. And that's something that I had to like really journal on a lot, because I was thinking about how, why is this podcast not reaching the people I want it to reach? Even though I've been doing it for a long time, I've worked to make the production as good as I can. And I now have a producer, shout out to Anna. I have 2 studios. I have been posting consistently on socials. Like, why does it still freak me out? And I think a part of it is because I'm scared that like, if it's seen by the wrong eyes, like I could get like horrible comments, or I could get like, again, I know creators that have talked about getting death threats and all that stuff. And I spoke to Sam, who is on this podcast as well. So I'm going to link that episode down below. But Sam also talked about this experience and how like being visible is something that can be vulnerable. And so like actually creating ways and strategies for yourself of like, okay, if I receive this kind of comment, what am I going to do to soothe myself? Or like, what can I do to like make myself feel safe in an environment that is a little bit dysregulating? Like, it's not normal to be seen by thousands and thousands of people, but it's still something that can be normalized in your brain and in your body, and something that you can learn to feel safe with. Like now, more and more, the idea of like being seen by lots and lots of people doesn't feel scary to me. I had a video recently reach almost 1 million views. It's like 900,200, something like that, views. And it's all about learning to learn, which is something I've also made a podcast episode on, and it's going to be linked below. But being able to talk about different things and feel safe to be seen about talking about those things is something that is important. And again, if you don't want to make content, if you don't want to make media, this will still apply to you, because you can still feel unsafe. Like in a relationship, if you want to talk about your needs and you feel unsafe of like being told that you're too much, or the other person reacting, like that is still the fear of being seen. Or like in the workplace, if you want to share an idea you have for the project, but you're scared that your boss is going to like shut you down, or your colleagues are going to make fun of you, that is still the fear of like not feeling safe to be seen. And so working on what is the worst case scenario for me if I am seen in what I want to do, and how can I make myself feel better about it, and realize that like maybe that's not even a rational thing that would happen, and I'm okay, like I can survive that, and like it will be fine. And actually like the benefit of like putting myself out there is more than the cost of the embarrassment or the failure or the whatever, the risk. And so that's the safety side of being seen. Then the worthiness side of being seen is around like, am I good enough to be seen? And this is also something I've struggled with. Like I have been reflecting on, where does that come from? Because there was a long time where I was like, I don't want to put my podcast on video because I don't feel pretty enough yet. And I want to get more attractive so that people don't comment on my appearance and all this kind of stuff. And I put all these limiting beliefs around like what I need to change about myself. And then I realized, like, imagine if your favorite creator didn't make something because they didn't like the way that they looked, or they felt insecure about their skin or their hair or their body or whatever, you would miss out on like some of your favorite stories and content and advice. And so you could be that for someone else. And also your appearance is going to fluctuate, especially if you're a woman, like you have a menstrual cycle, you're going to look different throughout different times of the month. Don't let your skin, how you feel about yourself, stop you from doing something that is really important to you and could be really important to other people as well. And that's why, regardless of the fact that I have acne and sometimes I don't feel 100%, I still come to the studio every week, and there will be videos where like I'll be like, oh my god, I don't like how I look in that. But what I'm saying is so important, and I really want it to reach people. And so learning that worthiness is not tied to a specific attribute, but is just like something that is innate. Like you are innately worthy to be seen. You are innately valued. You don't have to be X pretty, X smart, this. Like it is not like a CV that you need to list all the requirements to be good enough to be seen. And again, this is not just about content, like in relationships as well, and friendships and work and health. I think a lot of us like hesitate to do something until we are good enough. Like I didn't allow myself to do a lot of things until I felt good enough to do them. And I just ended up waiting for a long time. And it just feels so silly. Like I wish I would have just started, because you build confidence through evidence. And now I do this more and more. I become more neutral to like how I look, because people know what I look like and what I sound like and what my opinions are like. And you realize that you are so worthy regardless of the little tiny things. And so this is the whole thing around having insecurities and being an insecure person is not the same thing. We all have insecurities, and I don't think that you are ever going to be able to totally unwrite that out. Like that is something that is just human and normal, and they change. Like what I felt insecure about a few years ago is not what I feel insecure about today. But we have insecurities. Being an insecure person is when you stop letting yourself live your life because of those things. You don't let yourself do something that you love because you're scared of the way that it's going to come across, or like again, little things about the way that you look or the way that you sound or the way that you speak. So yeah. And also like if it is something that you think that you feel really bad about that you can change, it's in your power to change it. I'm not saying change yourself to be worthy. Like that is not the story at all. But if there's something little that you don't like you can, it's in your power to decide to not be that person. Like you get to decide who you are. And I felt like I wasn't a clear communicator for a long time. I felt like I rambled a lot. I said like a lot. And I didn't like that. I felt very insecure about the fact that like maybe I am not good at talking. And now I've been talking for the last 20 minutes with no pauses, stutters, likes, ums, ahs. And it takes practice. And so everything that you feel not good about, like it's in your power to either rationalize that like that's not important, or to change it. And something that really helps me, I've spoken about it before, is this journaling exercise where like I write all my limiting beliefs on one side of the page and then the reframe on the other side. And before I used to write like the opposite thoughts. So if I wrote like I'm ugly, then I would write I'm pretty on the other side. But that didn't hit as hard. And so now I use like my lawyer brain and I debate with myself. So if I write like I'm ugly, I will write I'm beautiful because this. And when you give yourself evidence, your brain is like, okay, that's kind of true. That's kind of facts. And so those are little things that I've done to work with the worthiness wound. And also like being worthy is an opinion, but feeling worthy is a choice. You can feel worthy regardless of how you look, how you sound, what you do, who you are. Like that should be the baseline. Like I said, you are just innately worthy, and then all the other things are like stacked upon it. So this is something that I'm continuously working on. And you don't just arrive at a destination where you feel worthy all the time, no matter what. Like you have to keep proving to yourself that you are, and it's something that you have to maintain. And so one way that I find really helpful in doing that is I have a little folder in my camera roll, and I talk about like, this is examples of things that like make me feel really good about myself. So when I have one of those days where I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing? I'm so stupid. I am so ugly. Like all these things, when like my inner critic takes over, I have so much evidence that like I'm really proud of myself, and I'm really doing amazing things, and I don't just make them superficial things of like, I looked really nice on this day, or I won this award, or I got this grade. It's also like memories with my family and my friends of like, I'm a really good person, and like I really make the people in my life feel loved, and little things like that. And also, like, environment is everything. If you feel unworthy, maybe you are surrounding yourself with people who speak badly about themselves, because insecurity is infectious. If you are surrounding yourself with people who are always like, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, I'm this, I'm that, then that is going to rub off on you. And you are the average of the people you surround yourself with. And so, like, if people are saying that, then you are going to start believing that, even if you don't think that about yourself. I'm not saying abandon your friends in a moment of like weakness when they're not feeling good and they need support and they need a little bit of encouragement. I'm saying that I think like sometimes we bond over complaining. I think it's a British thing as well. Like English people, and I say this because I am as well, like we just like complain like about the weather, about this, about like the cost of living crisis, about like, look, everything, like there are problems that are happening in society and there are real issues that need to be addressed, but constantly whining and complaining is not the way to do it. And like when you get in the habit of like complaining about yourself, then that is going to feed your beliefs. And same with the people around you. So surround yourself with uplifting people. I don't know if you've ever seen Mean Girls, but there's that scene where like all the three mean girls are like in the mirror and they're like talking about like what they hate about themselves. And then is her name Carrie? Is like really confused and she doesn't know what to say or do. And it's the same like with yourself. So be really, really, really mindful of who you surround yourself with. And what I do to keep tabs on that is like I do an energy audit. Every week I sit down and I think, what is giving me energy? What is taking my energy? And again, it's not about good or bad and like demonizing people, because sometimes we do that when we're not feeling good about ourselves. But if you are trying to feel better, surrounding yourself with people who are chronically like mean to themselves and other people is not the way to go. Like, especially if you think all of those things about yourself, you start judging other people too, because you use those standards on yourself and so you start imposing them on other people. You will find the people who are not judgmental towards other people are less judgmental towards themselves. And so if you notice yourself being really judgy towards other people as well, like try and take inventory of that and hone it back in, because the more and more you do that, the more you're going to treat yourself the same way. And so yeah, like practice a little bit of non-judgment and realize like you are worthy, and surround yourself with people who celebrate you. I think the visibility wound also comes, like the fear of being seen also comes when you think that the people around you are going to reject you. I had that when I started a podcast. I was like, oh my God, like all the people in my life are going to think I'm so embarrassing. Or when I started a company, I was like, oh my God, all the people in my life are going to think that I'm like stupid for doing this. Like, what experience do I have? And that was not the case. I was so lucky that the people, my friends, they came and celebrated with me. I had this beautiful launch party with like 60 people and they all came, like many of them brought me flowers and it was so beautiful. But I had this fear of like, what if I get rejected by my friends? What if they think I'm a snob or I'm obnoxious, or who does she think she is because I'm doing something different? And so that is a real fear as well. And surround yourself with people who are doing amazing things, because why would they judge you? They would be the last people to tell you who do you think you are. They will encourage you, they will support you, they will give you inspiration and advice. And so environment is everything. And if you feel like you are scared to be seen, surround yourself with people who are putting themselves out there. It does not just have to be on social media. It can also be like putting themselves out there and trying something new in their life, trying a new hobby, trying a new job, like putting themselves out there with making new friends, because that will rub off on you too. Like that curiosity and fearlessness will like infect you too. And so that is my main bit of advice. Like environment is everything. I don't think I've naturally become better at not caring what people think. I just think I've surrounded myself with people who are doing the most incredible things. Like, I'm going to give you an example. I used to be so strange about my Instagram. Like, I love posting pictures. I love taking pictures. I love making videos, making art, making content. And I used to always like treat my Instagram as if like I was famous and whatever since I was a kid. But that wasn't really normal growing up. And I remember there was like a guy that I really, really liked like 7, 8 years ago. And he told me once that like he likes me, but he thinks it's really embarrassing that I post this much on Instagram and that it's really cringe and I need to stop. And that really hurt my feelings. And now, even today, whenever I upload a story, I'm like, oh my God, people are going to think I'm so embarrassing. People are going to think like, oh, it's her again. Even though that was 8 years ago. And so I have to remind myself, one, I don't have that person. I have not spoken to this person in like 6, 7 years. Two, like, I only follow people that uplift me, inspire me, like make me feel good. You don't have to open your own social media and feel triggered by your following or who's following you. You have permission to mute people. Like the mute button exists. You have permission to unfollow people. You even have permission to block people if they don't make you feel if they make you feel uncomfortable. I used to think it was mean to unfollow people, like, oh, like I'm gonna hurt their feelings. But no, like if someone is making you feel like you can't express yourself on your own platform, then you don't owe anyone an explanation. And I sometimes think like we are mean to ourselves in trying to avoid being mean to other people. So like, don't be mean to yourself. And you are allowed to curate your social media to what you want. Follow people that are doing the kind of things that you want to do. If you want to post, follow people who are posting regularly, because then you can see that. Whenever I see someone that I follow who creates content, I feel excited when I see that they've posted something new. And I'm like, oh my God, what are they doing now? Like, what is the new idea that they've come with? And so why would I expect that other people would not feel that way about me? Why do I feel like the people who are watching my stories or my content will be like, ugh, who does she think she is? It's her again. She's so annoying. She's so ugly. She's so cringe. Like, you have to debate these beliefs, because just because you have a belief doesn't mean it's true. I had a friend who once told me beliefs, negative beliefs, are kind of like when you go to a museum and you see a painting on the wall. Like, the fact that you can see it and the fact that you know it's like there means that it's not you. The fact that you can identify it means that it's separate from you. And so if you have these negative, nasty thoughts about like who you are and whether you want to be seen, like, that is not you. And if there are people that are triggering that around you, you are not a bad person for removing them from your life or muting them or communicating with them that they're hurting your feelings. And that is so, 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 so important. And I want to talk about like the idea of being the cool girl, because I think one of the main things that blocked me from the fear of being seen was like my fear of being seen by men and relationships. Because like I said, a lot of the people that I was involved with when I was a bit younger would tell me that I was embarrassing if I ever wanted to do something. And so I internalized this monologue of like being the cool, fun, chill girl. But I am fundamentally not a nonchalant person. And so that didn't work for me. And I was so scared every time I started something new, when I started a podcast, when I started my company, that all the guys that I liked in the past or like my crushes at the time would be like, she's so embarrassing. Why would I want to like talk to her? Why would I want to be with her? That kind of thing. And then I realized like, why would I want to be with someone who thinks that I am embarrassing or doesn't celebrate the ideas I have and doesn't celebrate the things that I want to do? Like, those are some of my favorite parts about myself. I love the way that I communicate my ideas. I love the way that I want to share what I'm thinking with people so that they can resonate and also like share their experiences. If someone doesn't like that, then they're not for me. And so rewriting that whole cool girl monologue is so, so, so important. And I know I'm not the only one. Like, I have friends that have said to me, oh, I don't want to say that because like, what will everyone say to me? Or like, what will so-and-so person that I'm talking to say? And you know, that's a sign that that's not meant, like that person is not meant for you. And so yes, it's scary because you might be rejected from your crush, or you might be rejected from like an opportunity or a person. But magnets attract, but they also repel. And so in order to become someone that attracts the right kind of people, you have to risk repelling people as well. And that might be the people that you wanted to be liked by. Like, it's so real to have this desire to be validated by people. And you might find that the people that you want a validation from are not the people that are going to give it to you. Yes, I had a lot of support when I started all these different things, but there were people in my life that also didn't acknowledge it at all. I had close friends that didn't follow my podcast at all, like any of the accounts, never mentioned it, pretended like it didn't happen. Same with my business, like didn't mention it, pretended like it didn't happen. And that really hurt. And so again, these things show you not that you shouldn't start something, but that in doing that, you will learn a lot about yourself and a lot about like your environment. And if you use that information to continue to curate an environment that is suitable for you, it will make your life better. I now live my dream life. Like I literally woke up today, I wore a cute outfit, I'm in the studio, my producer came and helped me set everything up. And now we're going to go and have some like meetings about other things in a cute coffee shop. And then I'm going to the Swiss embassy for an event that they invited me to talk to like the entrepreneurs and all these things that I would have never been invited to if I hadn't started all these different things. And then after that, I'm seeing some new friends that I made through my podcast and starting a business. And I get the most incredible messages from people I've never met being like, hey, I listened to this. It made me really happy. It made me feel really seen and I want to be friends. And that is so, so, so beautiful. And I'm so lucky for that. And I also want to say, like, if you risk being seen, that will happen to you. And it might not happen immediately. Like when I started all these things, there was this really awkward gap between the person that I was before I decided to like put myself out there and the person I am now. And in that awkward gap, it was lonely. It was really lonely. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't feel like anyone understood like my vision. I didn't feel like I fully knew who I was. And that was scary. But like that month, maybe 2 months of loneliness allowed me to deeply question, like, who do I want to be? What do I want to share? What do I want to express? Who do I want to surround myself with? And then as soon as I did that, all these incredible people and opportunities started to come into my life. And so I'm telling you, if you feel scared to be seen, it's normal. It's okay, number one. Number two, it comes from one of two places or both of the places of safety and worthiness. So like for you, is it safety? Is it worthiness? Or is it both? And like, what can you do to address those separate topics? And then three, like environment is everything. So surround yourself with people who celebrate you for being seen. And that is going to help. And also doing it scared is so important. Like I still feel scared to be seen. I still find it difficult sometimes to post a video on my Instagram or to tell people that I have a podcast or to post certain things where I talk about my feelings a little bit more openly. And I still do it. I feel the fear and I still do it. And then when I do that, I realize how fearless I am and how brave I am. And that gives me so much confidence. So I want to end with the same question that I asked you at the start of what would you do if you had no fear? Would you also try and be more seen? Would you also try and start making content in some way? Would you also try and start a business or make new friends or move to a new city or try for a new job? Like, what would you do? Comment it below, tell me. And if you have any questions on what it is to overcome the fear of being seen again and again and again, let me know, because it's something that I'm working through that we can work through together. And I want to say that if you've listened to the end of this, I'm proud of you for taking the steps to feel better, to feel more confident, and to give yourself a chance to do things on the next level. So thank you for sharing that with me. You are incredible. You empower and inspire me. And tell me what else you want to hear and see on this podcast, because we're making it for you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned next week for another interview, an interesting conversation. And yeah, I'm really grateful for sharing this with you. Thank you. Have an amazing rest of your day.